Shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Yahweh Kakodash. Double honor to the apostles, a great millstone, do it well. Peace, love, and blessings also to you, brothers on the highways and byways, giving all diligence to make a call and election sure. And also blessings to the very few sisters out there listening, learning, and believing. I am thy fellow Labor Kanakla, coming at you once again with another lesson, Lord's will, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shai Shai. This lesson is edifying and exhorting. And this is just going to be the Gentile topic. A brother and myself, we were doing some reading. All right, we're reading the book of Exodus, and I'm gonna try to make this as short as possible. Okay, because I could sit here and read a lot of precepts, but I'm gonna try to get right to the point. But just the topic of Gentiles, okay, because the Christian belief, or the Christian doctrine or philosophy or Christian dogma is that the Gentiles are all the other nations. But the Lord only died for the nation of Israel. Okay? The Gentiles that concerning salvation in the New Testament, those are the Israelite foreigners who lost the way. All right? A big point in history was during the time of the Greeks. A term, look it up, it's called Hellenization. All right? Well, Alexander basically, when he conquered the world, all right, he's known as a great conqueror. When he conquered the world, he basically pushed his Greek philosophies and ways upon the planet Earth. And definitely after Antiochus or Antiochus Epiphanes, okay, he basically forced our people to follow after the Greek ways, okay? So real fast, this is Moses. Everybody know who Moses is. If you know the Bible, if you read the Bible, you know who Moses is. So as we know, Moses, as it says, basically Moses, the birth of Moses. Moses was drawn out of the waters, and basically Pharaoh's daughter raised him up. But Moses knew he was an Israelite. Okay, he knew he was an Israelite, but he grew up as an Egyptian, and he was called an Egyptian. Okay, so real fast, let's go to it. So Moses, after he slew that Egyptian, Moses escapes to Midian. All right. He escapes to Midian. So let's go down. Moses dwell with Jethro, and Moses gets Zipporah, as you can see here in the 21st verse. Okay, she bare him a son. Let's get verse 22. And she bare him a son, and she called his name Gershom, for he said, I have been a stranger in a strange land. Not Paul referred to strangers, all right? So the strangers or the Israelite foreigners are Israelite foreigners, okay? Moses being an example, all right? He was an Egyptian. So let's get that word real fast, stranger. And the Hebrew word, I believe, is Gerashom, all right? Gerashom. It simply means a foreigner, okay? Simply means a foreigner. So let's go to verse Exodus, the 3rd chapter. All right. Now Moses kept a flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, and priest in Midian. And he fled to the flock to the backside of the desert and came to the mountain of the Most High, even to Horeb. And the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush. And he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed. So this is the Most High presenting himself to Moses. And Moses said, I will turn aside and see this great sight, why the bush is not burnt. And when Yahweh saw that he turned aside to see, the Most High called unto him out of the midst of the bush and said, Moses, Moses. And he said, Here am I. And he said, Draw not nigh hither, put off thy shoes from off thy feet, for the place where thou standest is holy ground. Moreover, he said, I am the God of thy father. So listen, this is the Most High reminding him, I am the God of thy father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon the Most High. And Yahweh said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people. So this is the Most High reminding him of who he is. You know, I'm the God of Abraham. And what? Reminding him, if you continue to read on, right? And the Lord said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people, which are in Egypt, and have heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters. For I know their sorrows. All right, and we're in spiritual Egypt again, and we're crying out to the Most High. Okay, he's getting ready to send another mediator or another savior, Yahweh Shai, which that's simply what his name means. Yah meaning he, Yahweh Shai says that he delivers. So the Most High is getting ready to send the ultimate deliverer. All right. It says, and I am come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them up out of the land unto a good land, which is going back to the promise that he made with Abraham. A good land and a large, unto a land flowing with milk and honey, because that's what he promised Abraham. And then that promise, of course, goes into his seed, and then Isaac's seed, okay, Jacob. And then you have to remember they entered into Egypt. All right, Jacob had the 12 patriarchs. And I forget exactly what it's 70 to 90 souls they entered in Egypt with. All right, you can fact check that, look it up. I don't know exactly. I just read it, but for the sake of time, it says, and I come to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians, and bring them up into a land, into a good land and a large. So this is the covenant. This is the promise he made unto Abraham, that his seed, all right, it says, unto a land flowing with milk and honey, unto the place of the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites. All right. So let's go to Ephesians, the 2nd chapter, and around about the 12th verse. All right. I'll start verse 8. Work our way into it. There's some good stuff here. Ephesians 2 and 8. It says, for by grace are ye saved through faith. All right. So we're not saved according to the law. It's the grace of the Most High through faith, and not of yourselves. It is a gift of the Most High. Okay. So the Most High gave each individual that believed on him, he gave them that gift to do so. Okay. Not everybody, that's not everybody can't come into this thing, because not everybody received that gift. Okay. Not of works, lest any man should boast. So it's nothing we did. All right. We were, as you finna go into, we were ordained. Verse 10 going to tell you that. Why it's not of works. For we are his workmanship, created in Yahweh Shai, Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, unto good works, which the Most High hath before ordained that we should walk in them. All right. So already ordained to do this. It says, wherefore remember that ye being in a time, is the point. Wherefore remember that ye being in a time past Gentiles in the flesh, okay, who are called uncircumcision, by which is called the circumcision of flesh made by hands. Okay, so they were called uncircumcised by the circumcision. Okay, and most all, uncircumcised physically, and the main point is uncircumcised in the heart, meaning the mind. But the point being is that, right, verse 12, it says that at the time ye were without Hamashiach, all right, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel. So let's go into that word, aliens. Estranged, alienated, estranged, to be shut off from one's fellowship and intimacy. All right, because when the Most High revealed this knowledge unto us, that's a form of intimacy. All right, it says passive figure, to be non-participant, alienated, to be an alien. So what did Moses say? He said, "For I was a stranger." All right, estranged. Okay, he was a stranger. So here it is. We clearly know Moses was a Hebrew, an Israelite, and he was a stranger. It says strangers from the covenants of promise. So did not we see here the Most High had to remind Moses, because clearly he was a stranger to the Commonwealth of Israel, a stranger to the promises. Okay, so he was reminded of all these things, the covenants and the promises that he made with Abraham. All right, it says that at the time ye were without Hamashiach Yahushua, being aliens from the Commonwealth of Israel, and strangers, here we go, from the covenants of promise, having no hope and without the Most High in the world. Okay, but now in Hamashiach Yahushua, who sometimes were afar off, are made nigh by the blood of Hamashiach. All right, literally afar off physically, because we were scattered, and then mentally as well. All right, our heart was, scriptures speak about your heart being far from the Most High. Okay, or your heart departing from the Most High. Okay, so here's an example of Moses being a stranger and had to be reminded, all right, of the covenants, of the promises that he made with our forefathers. All right, so just as an example, Moses was a Gentile at one point, because you had some of the Gentiles, they knew they were Israelites, all right, but they were still following the Greek customs, all right, which Moses would fall in that category. He knew he was an Israelite, but he was following after the Egyptian customs, born up in the Egyptian way. He had some Israelites that didn't know at all that they went back to Israel. That's why it's about faith. That's why when you go back, the faith is important. Okay, it's a gift from the Most High. Okay, so no matter what no matter what you look like, you can be scattered amongst the Chinese, the Japanese, the Africans, the Arabs. You could be scattered amongst the Edomites, looking like Edomites. Okay, no matter what you look like, when you hear that word, the Most High has put that gift in you. So you're going to be able to call upon the name of the Lord, and you're going to believe this gospel. Okay? That's what basically dictates who Israel is. Do they have the faith to believe and call on upon Yahweh Shai? Because you can't be joined unto Yahweh Shai unless the Most High ordained it. Okay? And the Most High, yeah, you know, you read the Old Testament, they clearly saw that the Most High was only dealing with Israel. And it's the same in the New Testament. It's just that through Yahweh Shai, as I say, we were far off. Okay? Verse 13, but now in Hamashiach, Ephesians 2 and 13, but now in Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, ye who sometimes were far off are made nigh by the blood of Hamashiach. So we needed that sacrifice to come back, to be joined again to the Most High. Okay? And it's mostly, you want to hit the point of it being far off from the mind. Okay? Because according to the law, you know, that's why it speaks about the males coming 3 times a year for the high holy days. All right? One of the most important ones, the Passover. Okay? But they were literally far off from the land, but they had to come back according to the law. So mostly this is talk about spiritually or mentally, if you will, being afar off from the Most High. Not having the Most High in your heart, not knowing his name, just completely gone, dead in trespasses, far off. But through Yahweh Shai, okay, it says, for he is our peace. That's what gave us peace between us and the Most High. He was the mediator. All right, just look at his two. The Lord called Abraham his friend. Okay, so look at his 2 friends that fell out. Then you have one individual coming in between them and make peace between, which is the gospel reconciliation. All right, means again. And that's another thing, a cut to these Christians. How can you reconcile with someone who you were never a part of? the Most High made a covenant with Israel. We broke the covenant. So this is the reconciliation to get us back together. If the Most High never established a covenant with you, what is there to reconcile? All right, it says, for he is our peace, who hath made both one, and hath broken down the middle wall or partition between us. Let's read that in NIV. For he himself is our peace, who has made the two groups one, and has destroyed the barrier and dividing the wall of hostility. Or like this, in the wall of partition. All right, you have a partition in the middle which separates. All right, let's keep reading. Having abolished in his flesh the enmity, even the law of commandments containing ordinances, for to make in himself of twain one new man, so making peace, by setting aside in his flesh the law with his commands and regulations. His purpose was to create in himself one new humanity out of the two, thus making peace, and that he might reconcile, there we go, both unto the Most High in one body by the cross, having slain the enmity thereby. NIV, it says, in one body to reconcile both of them to God through the cross, by which he put to death their hostility. All right, so that's pretty much it. I'll leave it there. You know, Yahushua came and reconciled for us. All right, he made that peace. This is where we had that peace. You know, the Most High just sending nations to jack us up for going off. You know, basically, you know, we declared war against the Most High by rebelling against him. That's why we catching all his hell, but through Yahushua we had that peace. Okay, the Most High ain't, you know, when he come this time, he gonna come with kindness, salvation. Okay, but destruction for 2/3 that don't want to hearken. But that's pretty much it. Just example of Moses being a Gentile, Moses being a foreigner. All right, the Gentiles concerning in the New Testament concerning salvation. All right, because you have actual Gentiles of the other nations, as you can see here clearly. Israelites are Gentiles, are considered Gentiles as well. Okay, and the reconciliation is between Israel and the Most High, not the actual Gentiles. There's nothing to reconcile with. You're never a part of it before. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I'm gonna leave it there. Lord's willingness is edifying. Till next time, giving all praise to Yahweh Shemi Shai. Shalom.